Good evening, puckheads, and welcome back to Clear the Ice on the Edge Philly Sports, a Flyers postgame show tonight with your boy Matty B and my main man Austin, who we've never worked together. This is the first time, so bear with us. People scare me, and I'm shy, so I hope I don't turtle up here, but I'll do my very best. Austin, it's good to see you tonight. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. It was a great game for the Flyers tonight. I'm definitely excited to get started doing this with you tonight. First time doing anything on EOP together too. I'm looking forward to it.
No, did we never did Eagles stuff together?
Oh no, we may have.
Yeah, I think we did.
Possible we may have done an Eagles post game or two
at the end of the season. I think me, you, and Joe Marks did one, as I recall.
Yes.
Yeah, Austin, 6-2 Flyers with the win tonight, snapping the 2-game losing streak and an 8-year losing streak to the Tampa Bay Lightning in Wells Fargo as they break the streak tonight in a big way against one of the Eastern Conference's most talented squads, perennial Stanley Cup contender. And the Flyers did it today with, they got some bad news to start today, and it's not really necessarily surprisingly bad news. Jamie Drysdale has been listed officially now as week to week as they will reevaluate his shoulder in about 2 weeks. Of course, that injury occurred on Sunday in Pittsburgh. Flyers also moved Ristolainen to the injured reserve list, and then brought Bobby Brink back up from Lehigh, which of course paid big dividends right off the bat for the team. But when you go into a game, and then of course they're down TK as well, minus 3 heavy hitters for this young Flyers team that needs all hands on deck at all times. But they answered the bell tonight against a powerhouse Tampa Bay team.
Yeah, definitely. It was absolutely exactly what you wanted to see Philadelphia be able to do in terms of response to, not having those players available, having Ristolainen get moved to week. But overall, especially the third period, everything just seemed to click for Philadelphia. And it was incredible how good the tail end of this game was.
Yeah, no, it was. And we're going to break this thing down, but we got some comments. Let's get into them. Where's that? Ellis, I'm not used to seeing you unless it's a baseball thing. So welcome. Hopefully, Ellis, this is the beginning of our renewed friendship as we are teetering on the beginning of the baseball season. Ellis says, big win tonight, most definitely. And who, I don't know, Big Al, what is that? Zephyrai? Al Zephyrai. I don't know how. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Says, we can't have nice things. I know the feeling. And Daniel Berry says, yo. Austin, of course, Big Al, before we get into breaking this thing down, Austin, I do have to ask your opinion. We are getting close to the trade deadline. It is bearing down on us. It's in about a week. March 8th, 3 p.m. is the trade deadline. Flyers, based on recent performances by some backup goaltending and based on the injuries now, do the Flyers, does this change what the Flyers may do? We're going to get into the game, but I want to get your take on it. Everyone else seems to be giving me their take. I want to hear yours. Does this change what the Flyers should do with the trade deadline, or are you, whatever your path was, stay on it?
I honestly think it does change a few things because, having two of what you would consider your top 4 defensemen in Drysdale and Ristolainen being out potentially long term, you're going to need to make some sort of a decision on if you're either deciding to sort of break up what's going on here now or build off of what you've already started. And you have 10 days to decide that now. And TK being hurt doesn't help the situation. Thank goodness we had Tyson Foerster not have to miss any time after taking that shot off the leg against Pittsburgh on Sunday. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions that are starting to crop up here as we get close to the deadline now, and I would like to think that they build off of what they're going with because of the fact that they're still because we'll get into the out of town scoreboard later, but Washington lost today, so that gives us a bit of a gap on them in the division now. Only downside is a lot of our schedule that's left is going to be against the Central Division, which we haven't really had a great record against so far this year. So unless we can figure out what's going on against those guys and be able to start winning some of those games, it could spell a lot of trouble in the tail end of the year.
Yeah, March and April are definitely going to be a very interesting time on the schedule. The Flyers are complete now for the month of February. All in all, it was a pretty good month. They kept going. They went into the All-Star break kind of on that 5-game winning streak, but they pretty much have stabilized themselves. So all in all, a decent February to report. Joey Wood says, are you guys shocked Glassman Drysdale out again? No, because that's probably why the Flyers got a second-round draft pick attached to Jamie Drysdale coming back from Anaheim, because there was some injury concerns there with the guy. That's been the thing about him. He's not the most durable person in the world, and that hit doesn't really seem all that bad. But again, I'm not going to say he's made of glass, but he's probably not the most durable. But that second-round draft pick it's probably the reason why that was attached, because of this particular situation.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, any other player would have gotten right up and been able to keep going, but
yeah,
Drysdale, with the history of the shoulder injuries, it definitely did not look anywhere near as scary as his reaction afterwards, for sure.
No, it looked like he was like dead armed. Did you see that? He's kind of skating like this, like he couldn't even move his arm. It looked pretty bad. I agree. Al says, "What's best for the future is all that matters." I agree, Al. I don't think we should be seeing this thing through Pat Bernard colored sunglasses at all. I think we should be keeping our eyes on the prize of a rebuild and getting better for the future of this team. And I maintain the sell mantra that the Flyers should be on. But let's get into the game tonight, Austin. 6-2, the Flyers with the win. They would get on the board first with the aforementioned, recently recalled Bobby Brink, his 8th goal of the year from Morgan Frost and Mark Stahl. A pretty indicative Flyer goal that they've been scoring all season long. A nice little neutral zone transitional goal. Morgan Frost kind of gets it going there. He kind of he didn't hand pass. He knocks down a puck in the air. And then he got Bobby Brink kind of streaking in, got the defense flat-footed and behind, and nice little inside move by Brink, and he beats the goalie with the pad side. Nice to see Bobby Brink and get back, not only get back to the Flyers, but obviously get right back on the scoring column.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Bobby Brink is a really solid talent for this team, and getting him back up here, you look at the negative side of it with, the injuries that have happened, and that's what's causing his recall to come back around. And I mean, it is a bit of a bittersweet thing for Bobby Brink, in my opinion, because the fact that, once those guys are healthy, he's probably going to get sent right back down, unfortunately. But to see him in the first game up, be able to get a good jump on one and put it into the net is always a plus.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And it was, as I mentioned, it was one of the indicative type goals the Flyers have been scoring all season long, a transitional neutral zone turnover with the nice little outlet pass. This time it was on a batted down puck, and just Brink was coming down the flank. Beautiful heads up play by Morgan Frost to kind of spring them. So the Flyers would take the 1-0 lead. And that's how that was all your first period scoring. Morgan Frost picks up the assist, and so does Mark Stahl on that goal. And into the second, though, the Lightning would catch right back up as they would tie things up at 1-1. This was kind of an ugly goal, if you ask me. I really didn't like this goal. A lot of things not to like about this goal. Travis Sanheim's number one on the list here. The Lightning were Travis Sanheim was kind of caught flat-footed. It was a 4-on-4. Flyers were coming off of a change, but there was a 4-on-4. Sanheim was over-pursuing on one side of the ice, left the player wide open, coming down the crease or coming down the slot. Ursa makes a nice little initial save on it. The puck is kind of loose in the corner. And then Owen Tippett completely checked off the puck like a little girl. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Owen Tippett was checked off the puck by a guy about 6 inches smaller than him, causing a turnover behind the net. And then Travis Sanheim late to react as the puck will kind of go back to the point. Nice nifty play to keep the puck in for Tampa. Travis Sanheim caught sleeping in like center ice or slot ice, creating another break in front, and then the Lightning get back on the board. Ugly goal, Austin, by Nicholas Paul there, and I blame Travis Sanheim completely for that goal.
Yeah, you really can't play that aggressively, knowing that it's even in the rush. It's just one of those spots, I feel like he may have felt like he'd be able to get the puck on that play, and he just decided to commit to it and committed just a bit too much. But definitely overall, very ugly goal for Philadelphia to give up in that game, especially at that point.
Yes, it absolutely was. And then that would be all your scoring in the second period, as that goal from Paul was his 17th for the assist. Only one assist from Brandon Hagel, his 37th of the season. Heading into the third period, it would become a scoring fest at the Wells Fargo Center. Tyson Foerster would get the Flyers back. Would be the wait, is it the Foerster goal I'm talking about now? Or am I did I miss one here? Yeah, Foerster goal. Yeah, no, I'm right.
So many of them, we have to try and remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep them all straight here. Yeah, so Tyson Foerster goal. All right, I'm there. I'm back. All right, so again, a little nice neutralized transitional play. Foerster with the nifty. I mean, it was an innocent look enough play. Foerster comes into the zone, kind of 1-on-2. But the little nifty between the legs, shifting to the backhand over the pad. And the Flyers find themselves up 2-1. Foerster now 7 goals in the last 7 games. Red hot. I've been waiting all season for this Tyson Foerster ever since training camp broke. Pretty goal there, Austin, to give the Flyers the lead again.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very nice, nifty little piece of stick work there to put the puck in between the feet going over to the back end there. But like you said, it's what we've been hoping to see from Foerster, and honestly, it's just proof that the commitment pays off, man. He's been putting it out there every single night, and he's been starting to catch a ton of breaks going through the second half of the year so far.
Yeah, he has. And as I mentioned, 7 goals now in the last 7 games. That would give the Flyers the 2-1 lead, and the Flyers were just getting started. The next would be at 3:08 of the period. Travis Sanheim redeems himself up to that point, not a good game from Sanheim, but he redeems himself on this play. But I'm going to give credit where credit is due in this goal. This was Noah Cates. This is the second time within, I think, the last 2 shows that I've done. I've really kind of given a lot of credit to Noah Cates with kind of making goals happen, and he does it on this goal as he basically receives a turnover on the boards, all kind of works himself free, gets the puck, goes into the zone, and just fights his way through the zone and just manhandles his way through. I mean, players are diving at him. He's moving around, finds Travis Sanheim with a nifty top shelf goal to give the Flyers a 3-1 lead. So yeah, I'm going to give Noah Cates credit for the goal, even though it's, of course, Sanheim.
Absolutely. Seriously, just strong bodying your way through just a handful of people to just keep that puck on yourself is just exactly what you wanted to see at that point in the game. Like, you just got the lead back. It had been a couple of minutes. It was kind of back and forth during that time. And then just to have Noah Cates just strong arm his way through all that. And to have him be able to find Sanheim to sort of, like you said, reclaim himself a little bit after the goal by Paul in the second period.
Yeah. So that would give the Flyers the 3-1 lead. And that was Sanheim's 8th, I believe, of the year. Yes, his 8th. Yeah. It's just from Cates, his 9th, and Garnet Hathaway, his 4th. Then the Tampa Bay Lightning would do something that boggled my mind, and I've been watching hockey probably for longer than a lot of people around. Not to say that I'm some super hockey fan. It's just that I'm old. The Tampa Bay Lightning goalie decides to pull his goaltender, one of the best in the world, with 9 minutes left in the game. Austin, we talked briefly about it off camera. What was the moment? What was the strategy there? Why would you pull your goaltender with 9 minutes left to go in the game?
I think it was like you had said before we went live. It was one of those things. The coach is like, "Look, you guys aren't doing what you're supposed to do, and I'll derail this whole thing if I have to for you guys to get it right, because this is embarrassing." And they wound up holding very consistent pressure for about, I want to say it was a solid 4 minutes before Steven Stamkos wound up getting on the board for them to make it, what was it at the time, a 4-2 game?
Yeah, so it was 4-2 when that happened, yeah.
It could have potentially been something, but we'll go over the goals afterwards, but it wound up being not anywhere near the spark that they were hoping for. But
yeah.
It was very strange to just be, sitting there watching the telecast and just hear, and Tampa Bay has pulled the goalie. I was like, oh shit, is there only like 3 minutes left in this game? And I look up and it's like 9:37 left to play. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, and the goal that sprung all that was a Sean Walker goal, and we'll talk about that now. Walker at the 6:55 mark, his sixth of the year from Farabee and Sealer. That gave the Flyers a 4-1 lead, which then prompted Tampa to kind of pull their goalie. Turnover at center or neutral ice, and the Flyers just kind of come in. Farabee, a nice little pass, and then Walker. Vasilevsky did not have it tonight. He is one of the best goalies in the world. I'll take him on his bad nights more than I'll probably take a lot of the goalies in this league, but Vasilevsky was not having it. And no offense to Sean Walker. I know he's the next greatest thing in sliced bread in this town these days, but when you're giving up goals, post side, pad side to Sean Walker, it might not be your night.
Yeah, definitely not. But it was. I feel like the Sanheim goal and the Walker goal were just like the two grit plays that we needed, like the plays from gritty guys just being able to just help spark the team the rest of the way. Like Sean Walker, we've talked about him all season. This guy has done some really decent stuff this year. He's definitely proven that he deserved to be on this team. Him and Nick Sealer getting on the board, his 10th assist on the year. That guy's been throwing his body all over the place this entire season long, and to hit double-digit assists for him is definitely awesome to see.
Absolutely. And then that prompted the Lightning to pull Vasilevsky with about 9 minutes to go. And then Steven Stamkos, the captain, his 24th of the year from Braden Point and Kucherov. Jesus, is that not like would probably give me nightmares? You hear in a tagline like that, Stamkos from Point and Kucherov. They've been saying that a lot over the years in Tampa Bay. But this was a goal, 6-on-5, of course, Tampa with the advantage, no goalie. Flyers, very reminiscent of the first Tampa goal, just kind of really just lackadaisical in their own zone, chasing the puck, collapsing on the wrong side, and just allowing a lot of cycling. Tampa's filling lanes. Tampa's moving the puck beautifully. They're getting some bounces, and then the puck finds Stamkos there in the slot. And say what you want about him, you give Stamkos that puck in that position with the goalie fooled and already on the other side of the ice, it's not going to go your way at all.
Yeah, definitely not. And I mean, all the credit in the world to Sam Ersson on that whole time that they were holding the puck in the zone too, because he was making some really solid saves. He even caught a piece of that Stamkos shot too. He was full extension, full split with the stick, catches just barely, just not enough of the stick to keep it out, unfortunately. But it was definitely it was bound to happen. Like you said, the way they were collapsing just wasn't right. They were chasing the puck too much, having trouble getting it out of the zone. Couple of icing calls right before that too. So those guys were worn out and just trying to throw themselves around, and it just wound up not being able to help them out in the finality of that. Although again, like I said, all the credit to Sam Ersson on that though. He was sprawling himself out there that entire time.
Yeah, he was, but as I said, the two goals that Tampa scored tonight were very reminiscent of each other, and that's concerning because they were kind of textbook, like, tic-tac goal type stuff. The Flyers were just not defensively well, and again, the 6-2 win is a great win, but you got to look sometimes inside, and when we get to the playoffs, these are the types of things you're going to be defending in every night against teams like this, and the Flyers got to do a much better job, at least in those two situations.
Yeah, and especially when you get to the playoffs, those kinds of goals can be backbreakers too.
Yeah.
So you have to really make sure that you can lock that kind of stuff down, because it's been a bit of I guess you could say a bit of our kryptonite this year so far has been just strong offensive pressure from the opposing team.
Yeah, but fear not, Noah Cates and Cam York would finish off the scoring for the night. Cates his third, and York on the empty netter his eighth, and there you have 6-2 to Flyers with the win. Some key numbers from tonight's game. We're going to kind of get into a little bit deeper, but let's talk Sam Ersson. We mentioned him throughout this. 22 shots, 24 shots faced, 22 saves. 22 shots faced, 20 saves, and 9.09 goals against average. Big bounce back goaltending game for the Flyers after Sunday's debacle in Pittsburgh. Ersson continues to play strong, continues to make a case for himself being the number one goalie. Vasilevsky, as we mentioned, not a good night, was really just didn't seem right in himself. But Ersson, real quick, Austin, we talked about this at the midway point show. Berg was still out. He had a rocky games heading into the All-Star break. But coming out of the break, Ersson's been pretty solid.
Yeah, he's been putting together some really solid performances in net for Philadelphia since the All-Star break. Tonight was no different, especially against one of the top teams in potentially even the league, really. Just being able to stand as tall as he did, like I said, the scramble when it was 6-on-5 for Tampa when they pulled the goalie, he was making some really solid saves. So I feel like the case has been made for him now, and it's going to be from there. You have to build outward, and
Yeah.
Philadelphia seems. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that can be changed with what they have, but so far they've in front of Urson, they've been very solid, and it's been helping to see him through a lot of these games. Like that Pittsburgh game was rough. And I mean, to walk away from that only losing by one, I feel like we could have lost by a lot more, but we were getting kind of lucky on the offensive end because the defense was just not there. The defense was there tonight, but there were a couple of sloppy plays that some of them we wound up getting away with absolutely. But all in all, I mean, Urson's been putting together so far a really solid campaign, and I feel like, I mean, tail end of the season is really gonna tell you where he is mentally as we get to the potential playoff push in the last, what, 22 games now after this one?
Yeah, actually, yeah, 22 games. This was game 60 of the Flyers season so far. And a little comment about the goaltending on Sunday. Asked today pregame, Torts was asked about, what was some of the reasons. Was it bad defense? Was it bad goaltending? And I've never heard Torts in the 2 years or almost 2 years that he's been the head coach here. I've never heard him throw the goalie under the bus. And today was the closest I heard was when he said a little bit of both. And I've never heard him say that when it came down to goaltending. So where there's smoke, there's fire. And I blame Cal Peterson's struggles and his substandard play on one thing and one thing only. What is he doing with that god-awful white hockey mask? It is not 1993. Does Ron Hextall design that mask for him? He needs to hand it over to the training staff. They need to put some color on that thing, and they need to make that thing presentable.
Yeah, definitely. It's so off-putting to see, especially when we're wearing the black jerseys or the orange jerseys, and it's just a full white helmet. Like, come on, man.
Get some creativity, man. Come on, let's see. Show yourself on your mask, Cal Peterson. Well, maybe that is bland. I guess maybe that is his character. But on the other side of things for the Lightning, Vasilevsky, again, one of the best, if not the best goaltender in the world, faced 28 shots, gave up 5 goals, 23 saves, and for an 8.21 goals against average. And that's how you have 6-2 to Flyers. Let's talk some team stats real quick. Some of the fun stuff. Flyers outshot the Lightning 29-22. They lost the faceoff battle 36-31. The Flyers were a god-awful over 3 on the power play as those struggles continue, but they actually killed off 2 more power plays as the Lightning were 0 for 2. Blocked shots, Flyers again, keeping with the MO here, 24 blocked shots to 11. The Flyers also had 7 takeaways and 7 giveaways. Austin, we're making a push for the playoffs, but I have a hard time understanding or believing, not understanding, I understand it, but I'm having a hard time believing that a team that is so ineffective on the power play, like the Flyers are going to, you need to have an effective power play in the playoffs. You got to have one. And the fact that the Flyers are so bad on the power play, that's reason number one that scares me about them entering the playoffs, because I just don't think they have the horses, demonstrated by the poor play on the power play.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's very, very strange to see a team that has playoff potential be so bad when being up a man, but playing so well when down a man. It's very strange to be able to see a team basically playing, I guess you could call it reverse hockey in a way.
Yeah.
Playing stronger with a man down than you are when you're up one. But the other thing that's going to be really bad for them is they've lost a lot of face-off battles this season. And especially in like key situations, if you're losing those face-off battles, granted, you caught Tampa on an off foot tonight.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, it could be a totally different story, and those could lead to those backbreaking goals I was talking about before. If you can't clean up, your work in the defensive zone, your work, collapsing to the net when shots come in and pucks are loose. Those are going to be the spots that really end up biting you in the ass when the playoffs come around. And if you can't clean that up, you're going to be done very quickly.
Absolutely. In a 7-game series, you can't give Tampa a minute to breathe because they may have an off night, as you mentioned, but there's 4 other games that they have to play to win. So yeah, it's a good listen, a good win, another good win, and a very positive season up to this point. But you're right, there's still a lot more work to be done. But let's pause for the cause here, and let's recognize and acknowledge the good folks down there at Dolan's in 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park, Pennsylvania, for Quizzo, music, and great times and memorabilia giveaways. Go down and see PJ at Dolan's and the rest of the crew at Dolan's down there at 2400 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park, PA. And again, the offer still stands. Can anybody please explain to me the difference between Delco and Delaware County? All right, I need to know what the difference is between Delco and Delaware County. I grew up in Philadelphia, not in Delco or Delaware County. I don't know what the difference is. I thought everything south of the airport was Delaware, so I apologize. I know it's ignorant on my behalf, but if anybody could again come and hit me up with the difference between Delco and Delaware County, Matty B would be great. Very gracious. Austin, let's head over now to our 3 Flyers stars of the game segment here on the Clear the Ice postgame show. All right, how this works, Austin, it's the first time you've done it with me. It's real simple. It's a play off of the actual 3 stars of the game that they give out every night, except on our version, it is just Flyers players. So if the Flyers would have lost, say, 6-2, we would still have to find 3 Flyers stars of the game. That's just how it works. But tonight is one of those good nights because we got a Flyers win and we got a lot of goals and a lot of scoring and a lot of people, a lot of candidates. So I'm going to go off first here. My number 3 star of the night, I kind of went back and forth on this, and I'm going to give it to Morgan Frost, who is kind of, is he out of John Tortorella's doghouse? Is he out completely on everything? Morgan Frost is becoming a lost member of this team, an afterthought, but he's had a few strong games, and tonight was another example of that. 2 very big assists, finished the night with 2 assists, 3 shots on net, and a plus-minus of 0, but I'm going to give Morgan Frost my number 3 star. Bobby Brink is going to come in there with my number 1 star, a goal and a +1 on the night, coming right back from Lehigh. Good way to get things started again for the young man, as hopefully now he can kind of get this thing rolling. And my number 1 star of the night, Mr. Tyson Foerster, the goal. He finishes the night with a +1 as well and 2 shots. So there's my 3 Flyer stars of the night. I'm going to go with Frost, Brink. I almost said York, but Brink and Foerster. What you got, Austin?
I think number 3 for me, I'd do Bobby Brink. Like you said, coming back up from Lehigh and getting the goal, finishing with the +1. Very solid play for him throughout the whole night. Number 2, I'd give it to Noah Cates. Goal and assist, a plus-minus of 3. Gets that goal on only 2 shots on net, and mainly because of the play that led to the Sanheim goal. Honestly. Yeah. Just powering through everybody and just being able to get out into space to be able to find Sanheim for that goal. You always love to see that. And then number 1, yeah, I probably have to go. I have to go with you and go with Tyson Foerster. I mean, he's been on a roll. He's been on a roll recently, and getting another goal to give him 7 is a very solid spot so far. I mean, it was between him and Travis Sanheim, but I feel like the bad defense sort of took points away from him, in my opinion. So I had to have Foerster just barely edge him out. And plus, that was just such a nifty move to lead to the back end with 2 guys on the way he pulled that off.
Yeah, no, I agree. So outstanding. Yeah, I agree with your stars of the night. So those are our 3 Flyer stars of the game. And yeah. All right, now let's take a look around the National Hockey League tonight. There, Austin, we had a full night of action in the league. Games that are still ongoing. Nashville is leading the Ottawa Senators 3-1. About 7 minutes left in that game. It is 3-2 Carolina over Minnesota with about 6 minutes to go, and 4-2 Winnipeg over St. Louis with about 4 minutes to go. Games that are in the second period, 2-1 Calgary over the Kings. Games that are just starting out there at the end of the first in Colorado, it's 2-1 Avs over Stars. And later tonight we got Pittsburgh in Vancouver, and the Devils in San Jose. And there's your look around the National Hockey League on this Tuesday night. And then a quick look at our updated standings. The Flyers still holding court with that third place record in the Metro, which would be still good for 6th overall. So they're in, and they're a solid 3. I mean, they're a solid 3 in the Metro right now, as they are. Maybe that's kind of what the ceiling for this team is right now. But if the playoffs were to start today, the Flyers would either play Toronto or Carolina. Pick your poison there. I probably go with the Maple Leafs because they can't win in the playoffs either. So, but yeah, Flyers 3rd in the Metro as we get into the final. I guess this would be the September of the baseball season, the month of March. So it's gonna start getting really good here. But the Flyers currently the 6th overall seed in the East.
Yeah, very, very solid play so far from Philadelphia, and to be holding edge over Tampa Bay right now is very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And 6-2 tonight. Flyers with the win. Really good positive win tonight. The Flyers will be back at it on Friday evening. And, of course, we got you covered here on Clear the Ice. Mike and Al will get you on Friday, and then me and Pat will come at you on Saturday as we do Ottawa and the Flyers, another back-to-back. So, great. I'll be talking about Cal Peterson. Ooh, let the good times roll, man. Here we go, Cal. Let's see how white your mask can be tonight. So,
you'll feel how I felt after Sunday.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's right. You had the Cal Peterson on. That's right. You and Mike did on Sunday. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Give me some last words, Austin. Final thoughts on tonight's game and going forward. Good month for the Flyers overall. They are only currently now 5 points or 6 points off of their entire point total of last year. So this season continues to be a positive thing. But, of course, now we're dealing with some injuries. Now we're dealing with a backup goalie situation. We got the trade deadline looming. We talked a little bit about that. But some final thoughts on tonight's game.
Final thoughts for tonight's game, just very solid win. Philadelphia did exactly what they needed to do in the third period, and that was establish themselves offensively and be able to just find their seams to be able to pull themselves away from one of the better teams in the league, even though they seem to be having a bit of an off year in terms of where they stand in their division. But overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from Philadelphia with this season as a whole, despite the flaws in the losing streaks. There's some questions going down that have popped up now that, we're getting close to the trade deadline. And hopefully, if we want to continue to make this push, we make the right moves and help secure those questions with some solid answers.
Yeah, it is. And I think I mentioned this to Al the other day, or I have mentioned it to somebody before, that this season in a lot of ways for me is more frustrating than last year or the years past, because now we're feeling the pressure to push the chips in the table and say, you know what, why not? Let's roll this thing and see how far it takes us. But I think we have to avoid that temptation. I do. I know. Listen, I firmly believe they're back. I firmly believe that the dark days of Flyers hockey are behind us now, and we're going to keep moving forward from this point. But we're not in that push the chips in the center of the table mode yet. We're still about 3 pieces away from that, in my opinion. So, backup goalie now is a problem. Say what you want about it. Would you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable going into the playoffs with Ersson and Peterson? I don't necessarily feel that comfortable, even though Peterson would never he wouldn't see anything unless it's a blowout. But still, there's a few pieces missing here. But great win tonight against a powerhouse of a team. Showed a lot of character, showed a lot of grit. Again, showing all those adjectives that we've been talking about all season long from this revamped Flyers club. And let's keep the good times rolling Friday night against the Capitals. So Austin, real quick, final words, and where can we find you out there?
Yeah, Friday's going to be a huge game. Not going to lie. Playing against Washington with the 6-point differential right now, being able to expand on that lead would be huge for Philadelphia going into the weekend. Yeah, for where people can find me, actually right down here underneath of my name on Twitter at Austin_EOP. I also occasionally do some video game stuff over at twitch.tv/Hambo26. But mainly you can catch me Thursday nights here on EOP talking Philadelphia Union soccer with old Jughead Pat, and just aside from that, over on Devereaux Sports on Saturdays at 10 a.m., talking classic video games, TV, movies, all that fun stuff. Just having a lot of fun doing what I can around here and keeping myself busy.
Yeah, me and you both. Before we just say goodbye, I forgot we got to talk about the good folks over at Sherry's Ticket Town. If you're looking for great prices on sports, concerts, theater tickets, and no hidden fees, look no further than Sherry's Ticket Town. That's right, www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Save an additional 10% at checkout when you enter the promo code EOP10. Head over to Sherry's Tickets Town now. And then after you're done with that, if you got any legal problems, Dave Cherry's the man you want to give a call at 610-565-0300. Workman's compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. Dave Cherry at www.cherryinjurylaw.com or 610-565-0300. And then once you got your tickets and your legal advice, it's time to travel like the pros. And look no further than the good folks at Philly Sports Trips. They are getting you guys revved up for their 2024 Sports Trips Extravaganza. And don't forget the big one here in Brazil this fall. Eagles against an opponent to be determined at another time, I guess around May. But they got you covered for the Brazil trip. They got you covered this summer for the Phillies in the UK against the Mets. And they also got you covered, I don't have the damn slide here, but they got the Boston Red Sox up at Fenway on Father's Day weekend. So head over to Philly Sports Trips right now and see all the great stuff that they have to offer. And you can catch me all over the Edge of Philly Sports. I host a show on Monday nights. I am also part of the Clear the Ice. And then very soon, the Titans Final, which we'll be getting that revved up real soon. And yeah, so another great win. Don't forget Friday night and Saturday night. Make sure you're with us after the game, after the horn sounds. Friday night, the Capitals, it'll be Al and Mike, and then me and Pat on Saturday night talking Flyers Senators. Until we talk again, in the immortal words of Mr. Gene Hart, good night and good hockey.